Hello everybody, Two-Tailed Fox here. Today I'll be doing an audio read-through of the fanfiction that I'm currently working on over at fanfic.net entitled Sontails, Dreams Come True. It's just a little thing I'm working on of a Tails cross Sonic sort of love story, romance, drama thing. I'll leave links in the description of my fanfic profile and also the chapter that I'm currently reading each video so you can read along with me. Before I begin, I'll just read the summary of the story. Mobius, a planet far away from any other civilization. A small teenage fox begins to develop feelings for his blue hedgehog best friend, but with school, parents, fear, and the highly religious community, let alone the threat of war, will love ever prosper? Sontails story set in the Sonic Boom universe. So think of their characters with their Sonic Boom designs. You know, with Sonic's bandana, Tails' pilot goggles. Try not to think about Knuckles, because no one really... he's okay. Under development currently. So without further ado, let's hop into Sontails' Dreams Come True, Chapter 1, Growing Feelings. Chapter 1, Growing Feelings. Mobius, a strange, lonely planet floating alone in the vastness of space. The planet, forged when hot molten rocks collided and cooled, forming the earthly crust around the lava core, had gradually created life. The early inhabitants of the planet learnt, grew, and evolved over many years, adopting new technologies and ways of life. However, throughout the years, one thing stood the test of time. The world religion that every Mobian abided by, no matter how big or small, Mobianity. Created as far back as even the oldest history books in the great libraries could tell, the great testaments and rules of the land were created, and every creature, big or small, lived their life by these rules. Years, decades, centuries passed, and the inhabitants slowly grew, changed, and expanded. Many civilizations fell and were destroyed until the Great Mobian War waged over the world. All the great cities of the world were mutually destroyed, and when all the dust finally settled, peace could still never be reached. To this day, small communities, villages, and towns had been erected, dotting the vast landscapes of the world, each sticking to designated borders. The only way peace was finally settled was when all the communities created specific borders, and peace would only be retained if they were never, ever crossed. Rouge the Bat, the teacher of the 10th grade class, put down her whiteboard marker and spoke softly. "This is the end of history class today." The bell rang out, and all the children shot up and filed out of the room as quick as their legs could take them. The first one out of the room, as always, was a cobalt blue hedgehog, his fur the colour of sapphire and eyes the colour of shining, shimmering emeralds. He was strange, being the only blue hedgehog, but rather than everyone making fun of him, they all respected him. However, this was most likely because of his amazing, unbeatable speed. He could run faster than anyone else at the school, and for seemingly an infinite amount of time without ever getting tired. He sped out of class and down the hallway to his locker as quick as he could. All the girls sighed as he flew past, every single one secretly in love with the blue blur. At the other end of the line, a small yellow-orange furred fox. He always brought up the back of the line, not because he was one of the slowest runners at the school, but because he was one of the only children that enjoyed class. Miles Prowler, although everyone just called him Tails because of a birth defect which made it so he was born with 2 tails instead of 1, was a small, shy boy who was so smart that he got moved up a grade. He hated school. Everyone picked on him, made fun of him, and none of the girls liked him. There was only one positive side. He got to spend every day in the same class as his best friend, Sonic the Hedgehog. "Hey Tails, hurry up! I want to try out that new game when we get home," Sonic yelled out, speeding up to his two-tailed friend, backpack slung lazily over one shoulder, already packed. "But I haven't even gotten my homework yet," Tails sighed, always ashamed that he couldn't keep up with his speedy friend. "I got you covered," Sonic smirked, holding up Tails' backpack, already packed and stuffed with every textbook that Sonic could fit in. Tails began, but before he could finish, Sonic grabbed his arm and raced out of school, dragging the fox behind him. The two ran, well, Sonic ran, and Tails tried desperately to keep up, not willing to tell his friend of the excruciating pain that he felt in his arm as it was almost being pulled out of its socket. "Not so fast, you're hurting me," the fox wailed finally. Sonic stopped suddenly and looked back. His emerald eyes shone with anticipation. "Sorry, bud," he said, picking up the fox in his arms and racing home. Tails sat, snuggled in his arms as Sonic raced home, as fast as he could. He hated when Sonic did this, because he knew that he loved it too much. For some time now, ever since summer, Tails had realized his true feelings for his blue friend. He was in love, but he could never tell Sonic, his older brother, because what if Sonic thought it was disgusting and disowned his friend for feeling that way? Not only that, the others could never find out. One of the oldest Mobian rules, to never be broken, right after the rule about how one should not murder, was the one about the sacred love between a man and a woman. It was a sacred vow, and one that was never broken. As hard as it was to hide his feelings, deep down, he couldn't stop them from growing wilder and wilder, slowly consuming his entire being. "Why did I agree to go on that stupid summer trip?" Tails thought to himself, remembering the events again in his head, and how it was the time when he finally realized his true feelings for his friend. "You alright, little buddy?" Sonic's voice cut through his daydream, and Tails opened his eyes. Sonic was standing outside his house, putting the fox down on the ground. "Yes, Sonic, just a bit tired," he said, his cheeks slowly turning a slight tinge of crimson. Sonic just laughed it off. "I hope you're not too tired to play the new game. It's going to be awesome!" he yelled enthusiastically, punching the air with his fist and running inside and up the stairs as quick as he could. Tails laughed to himself. He loved how childish Sonic could be sometimes. He breathed deeply and filed into the house after Sonic, ready to spend the whole afternoon playing video games alone with his best friend. He smiled to himself. Alone, he thought. How lucky he was to be able to spend so much time alone with Sonic, his best friend, the love of his life. That's the end of Chapter 1, Growing Feelings. Thanks for listening and reading along, and I'll be back to upload the second episode on Chapter 2, which is called Now or Never. See you next time.